Welcome to day 80 of the 90-day volunteer recruiting challenge. My name is Kenny Conley. I'm the next generation pastor at the Ridge Community Church, and I am attempting to recruit 50 volunteers over the course of these 90 days. And right now we're on day 80, and we're 2 Sundays into our new kids building, which was one of the motivations for doing this 50 volunteer recruiting push anyway. And both of my first 2 Sundays were challenging Sundays because I had a lot of people out, and we had to lean a lot on favors and subs. And in addition, we recruited a lot of new volunteers. So even though we had a lot of people out, we were still in the positive. Anyway, would have been a very different situation if we hadn't been doing this challenge. But I've wanted to talk about, we've been talking about subs and a strategy for subs. And I want to take today and tomorrow to talk about 2 pieces to your sub strategy, okay? Today, I want to talk about the subs that you recruit, okay? The subs that you recruit. In this whole process of recruiting volunteers, even as I look at my roster here of all the people that I've been in the process of recruiting, my philosophy around a volunteer is that I try to recruit all my volunteers to serve weekly because I really value the weekly small group leader role. Even though I have some roles that don't require weekly, if I can get them weekly, that's great. More consistency oftentimes means better community, but it's not required. I do have a fair number of every other week volunteers, which is fine. But if you're not a weekly volunteer or an every other week volunteer, or one of my odd, like my monthly storytellers who teach during all the services, if you're not one of those, a weekly volunteer, every other week volunteer, for me, you're a sub. You're a sub, and I'm gonna schedule you once a month, and I'm gonna plug you in where I need you, but I'm probably gonna move you around. You don't get to pick where you're going to be if you're a sub. So it's really important that you have an active sub base. I think, I'm just guessing right here, we probably have somewhere in the range of 20 to 30 active subs, which is great because every week or so we're able to schedule 3 to 5 people to plug in, and we never seem to run out of these people because we've got a healthy layer of subs. So it's going to be really important that you continue to recruit subs. And here's how I recruit subs. The majority of my subs are people who said no to my volunteer ask of weekly or every other week, but they said yes to plug me in when you need me. So even on this list of people that I've been recruiting, many of them have not made it fully through the list, or even some of the process of, like, as you begin reaching out intentionally and asking people, you're gonna get a lot of no's. A ratio that Nick Blevins and I like to use when we train people on volunteer recruiting, that typically, if you're gonna make 10 asks to serve in your ministry, only one's gonna say yes. And you've got many that won't even respond to you, and then you have several that say no. The best thing to do when someone tells you no is to ask them, hey, I get it, maybe you can't serve with us now, but would you be willing to be on our sub list? So when we need somebody, we could call on you. And what I found is that more often than not, people say yes to that. And it's your foot in the door. It's an opportunity to kind of get them connected somewhat to your ministry. And it's easier to recruit from your sub list to become regular volunteers than it is to someone who doesn't serve at all. So I would say it's important to continue to manage your sub list. If you got some subs that never respond to you anymore, or they always say no, it might be wise to move them to your inactive volunteer list. But it should be, and that's always going to happen, but it should be that you're always adding people. If you're always recruiting people and you're always actively recruiting volunteers, you're going to frequently have people say no to becoming a regular weekly, every other week volunteers, but yes to your sub list. So you should be consistently growing your sub list from people who told you no, or some people who were regular, weekly or every other week, and then they opted out. Say, hey, I can't serve frequently now. Can I just be on your sub list? Perfect. Yes, you can always be on my sub list. Because it's going to be really important for you that every single week when people call out, as we talked about this before, people are going to call out on Thursday or Friday or Saturday or even Sunday morning, and you've got subs ready to go. These are subs that you've already scheduled. That from your list of 30, 40, 50, 100 subs, you're going to be able to schedule 4 10, 15 of them just to show up this Sunday, and you're going to plug them in where you need them. So it's very important that you are continually managing an active sub list and that you are scheduling them to be here because you're anticipating that your regular volunteers, a certain number of them, are going to call out, and so you've got them there in place anyway. So that's the first part of a sub strategy that I want to talk about today. Tomorrow, I want to talk about a very unique perspective towards recruiting and finding subs, and you're going to love it.